Brenda Elkin is with us here today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing great as well. Now, you've got a book series called The Commando KidZ. So, what is that series about, first of all?
Well, the series is about two characters, a brother and sister, and their mother. And the first book explains their training in the CIA,
Ooh.
their summer training. But it's a book series. It will be a series of 10 books, and I've completed 7. And my motivation for writing the series is to motivate our youth, to be lifelong learners, and to empower them and to try new things. But the series is about a mother character and her 2 children.
Yeah, and how did you get the idea for that then?
I had this idea a long time ago when I was young, and it's just something that's always interested me. I grew up I was born and raised in Washington, D.C. So I have some family members that were in the CIA. So it was something that's always interested me.
Yeah, and doing 7 books out of 10, it's going to be. How do you find the inspiration to keep making them?
I really, our world is such a beautiful place, and there's so many in each book. The characters travel to new locations. There's new inventions. It's the people and places and historical events that are included in each individual book.
Yeah.
So, and the book is action adventure.
Yeah, that's exciting. And when did you start writing this series then? Was it a while ago?
Yes, I had the idea a couple of years ago, and so it's I can quickly write it because I had so much information, but I really buckled down and started writing it over a year ago.
Yeah, and I guess has the pandemic helped you have a little bit more time to be able to write all these books?
Absolutely, yes. Being home in the pandemic, it was like a hobby that just, kept growing and growing, and it's been a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
The feedback that I get from it, even from teachers, I'm a teacher and in the state of Maryland, and teachers that I'm friends with in Florida, they have the series in their classroom, and then they can see by what their teens students pick whether they like, what their passions are, what their interests are, their curiosities.
Yeah. And being a teacher, have you had to deal with a lot of remote learning this past year as well?
Absolutely, I have. Yes, this is my 25th year teaching.
Wow.
And so it was a big change up. It was a constant change up, but I work with such a wonderful administration and staff, and we really are a family. And it made it much easier, because this is the year I personally, as a teacher, had to grow the most.
Yeah, absolutely. You're always learning. It's hard because we never expected this to happen, and I guess there's no better time to have a pandemic than right now when we have all the technology to deal with it.
Absolutely, yes. So we can still stay connected to our youth and their families. We all had to really band together.
For sure, yeah. So when did you first realize that you wanted to be a writer then?
Well, I have contributed to a couple of books, a family history book, another book about growing up in Catholic schools. And so it was something I was always interested in, is being a good writer. And that's something that I actually love to teach in school, is writing. And I think students they enjoy writing too. I think that, we could tweak the way we teach it. But students actually, they have a lot to say. They're extremely creative.
Yeah, that's for sure. And what was the first book you ever wrote? Was it this series, or have you done a lot more before this?
I have some things that I didn't publish. I have some jingles and songs for primary and intermediate grade, children.
Yeah.
But this series was the first. This was my first real book, Commando KidZ, The Island.
Yeah.
The series does not have to be read in order.
Ooh.
It doesn't have to be read in order, but it's is it helpful? Maybe, but it doesn't have to be read in order. But and it explains, teen CIA agents, they're good problem solvers. they're intelligent, they have strategies, they have a good memory, they have grit, because they have to handle themselves all over the globe. My series takes you all over the world.
Yeah, and I guess that helps it appeal to an international market. If people see their own country on a book, they'd be more likely to want to have a read.
Absolutely, yes. And the characters, the brother and sister, it's fun to do. One teacher told me she had her students do a psychological profile on the characters Eric and Emma in the series by the quotes that they, that are in the series.
Yeah.
So so that was kind of exciting. That was kind of an exciting thing to hear.
Yeah, and the fact that you don't have to read them in order, I take it then they're all very much their own story. Like continuous characters, but it's not like a normal sequel.
Right. And you can see them age through the series, but it does not have to be read in order. Is it helpful? Maybe, but it's, they each stand alone. Each novel stands alone.
Yeah. And I guess the characters still grow as it goes on. Do they perhaps in the future books still have learned the lessons from the previous books?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. So I just wrapping up book 8. So hopefully that will be coming out in, about 4 weeks. Ooh. And then, I wanted to create a series of 10. And also I did have to change things up because I wanted to do things that were trending. Yeah. So my book 5 is, the rover landing on the red planet. Uh-huh. So I wanted to include things that were trending and that were current, for us today. But I love the history in each book, and I love how they travel the globe, because our youth need to know that they have opportunities all over the world. Yeah, all over the world. They don't have to just stay in Europe or in America. Just all over the world. We can keep our, we're lifelong learners, and we can keep all of our options open.
Yeah, and it's such a global world now with the internet and things that it feels like we are closer than ever to these other countries. So perhaps there is more possibility to go all over the world for these opportunities.
Right. And we are connected. I mean, I feel like you could be my neighbor and here you're in the UK and, and I'm here in Washington, D.C. So absolutely, I love how we are, we are connected and we are, united. We definitely, need to see that there's opportunities everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. So for each of the books, how long does it take you to write one on average?
Well, I did have a little bit of a jump start before I actually published my first one. So that was helpful, but about a month. And, between me writing it and getting it published, and you can get all the whole series is on Amazon. Yeah. So, and e-Kindle, paperback and hardback.
Yeah. It's quite impressive doing that in just a month, because I've had musicians on before that have written songs in longer than that. So to be able to do a full book in that time is pretty impressive. I take it you spend a lot of time each day working on them.
Yes, I go to bed early and I get up early, so that helps.
Yes.
I'm very scheduled. And I try to eat healthy and stay healthy. And so, that's been very helpful. The pandemic has been helpful because on Saturdays and Sundays, for basically almost a year and a half, I've been home. Yeah. Evenings, I've been home. So that definitely, like you had mentioned earlier, has helped.
Yeah, it's weird. Everyone's been at home this past year, and the only exciting place you can go is the supermarket, which seems to be busier than ever, which is probably that exact reason. It's the only place that people can get out.
Right.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah. And your schedule, do you wake up early in the morning and maybe do a few hours before work? Is that how you kind of do it?
Yep. I go to bed early, and I pretty much have stayed in on weekends and evenings. And so I do get like a good night's sleep. And so I can get up early. Yeah. I'm usually up at 4:30 in the morning.
Wow.
And luckily I teach at a school that's a later school. I taught 21 years in Florida, and I was at an early school. In Maryland, I'm at a school that doesn't, the kids don't even come until 9:15. So, I'm at a school that's a little bit of a later start. We get out a little later, but, we go in a little later.
Yeah, that's mad. Waking up at 4:30, despite the time difference, you're still up earlier than me. And do you feel you have anything unique about your books and your writing style?
I do. I think that they're very positive. I think that there's some unique lessons to be learned in each novel. And I think that they're empowering. I think they're positive. I think we've been a little bit, things have been really tough this past year and a half. And I think they're an escape. Kids or youth have been just so digitized that it's nice to have a book, have a novel, and you can order it off at Amazon and have it shipped right to your home.
Yeah.
And so I do think that, that is a change up from what we see on TV or what we see, in the news. It's an escape.
Yeah. And do you feel it's important to have a physical book in your hands that you can read rather than a Kindle version or an audiobook?
I absolutely love books.
Yeah.
So, and I end up giving a lot away. Before I moved back to the Washington, D.C. area, and I was living in Florida, I gave probably 1,000 books away. But my own personal children, I have 2 children that are adults. And they, I always made sure they had lots of books, lots of series, a variety of books, magazines. But I personally love the physical book. Yeah. It's good to do a reread. It's good to, when you have a book in your hand, you can press and read forward. You can read back. You can go back and check something. I like how this teacher in Florida told me that her students love to go back in the novels that she has my series in her classroom. And look up historical events and do a timeline. So they were getting a lot of good, reading and vocabulary, just even verbs in the book. And adjectives in the book. I mean, she did so many lessons using my series. It made me very happy.
Yeah. And the good thing about a book is it requires a lot of concentration, so you actually are properly reading it. Whereas a film, you can be watching a film and not really watching it at the same time. Same with an audiobook as well. So it's great to have something that you're actually focused on it.
Absolutely, because a lot of times our youth will have 3 screens. They're on their computer, they're on their phone, they're watching TV. So the series, when you have the actual book in your hand, it's your attention is on what you're reading. Absolutely. You're more focused.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, do you ever find when you're reading and you've read the stuff, but just sleepiness or something, but you weren't actually paying attention to what you're reading?
Right, you're distracted. Yes. Yeah. I try to focus when I read because I happen to enjoy and I love reading. And this series, like I said, this series is action-packed and it's fast-paced. It's an adventure. It's an adventure. And so that's why the feedback I'm getting is that teens love the series and their parents love it too. Yeah. So parents are buying them the next one. And then some family friends are all hounding me. When's the next one out? When's the next one out? So because they do, it is a nice read.
Yeah. Although by the sounds of it, you're writing them quite quickly. So they probably haven't really got time to ask when the next one will be out before it is.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And do your books, as you're writing them, do they develop into something else than what you originally planned?
Yes, absolutely. Like I had mentioned that sometimes I'll be writing and then I change it up to what's trending. And so that, it's an interest, it's an interest for kids and, for our teens. So absolutely, I could start one way and it can turn out completely different.
Yeah. And you've mentioned about the parents nagging you for another release. What is the kind of general feedback that you get from the readers?
That what I'm hearing is that they love it. I'll even have parents that will tell me, "Oh, I got to catch up. The younger brother took off with the book," or and they get upset because they want to catch up with the next the book in the series. They tend to like to read them in order, but like I said, you don't have to. But what I keep hearing is that they're positive. It's introducing their kids. boundaries for, knowing that they don't have, they're not just stuck, especially during this pandemic. It's been very depressing and traumatizing, honestly, to some people. And so this was an escape. And so they're happy to, have the next one.
Yeah. And do you feel this is the type of book that you would have wanted to read when you were a teen?
Yes. I love this series. It's one of the reasons why I did it. I got a lot of really good ideas from my own two personal children.
Yeah.
And absolutely, I would love to have had something like this. This is a little bit different because it does go around the globe. I mean, it is universal, worldwide, very, different. Each novel takes you to usually about 3 locations.
Wow.
But we've been on Mars, and we've been, to the Arctic, and to Italy and London, and the Cascade Mountains. We're all over the place. So,
and because it's so global, have you ever either thought about or have actually done translated versions of the books?
Thank you for asking that. And I believe you can get them translated when you buy them off Amazon, that you can get a translated version.
Yeah, well, that's useful then. And do you have any more books on the way that we're able to look forward to in this series and beyond?
Yes. Well, this series, I usually don't talk about them until I'm done, but I have one that's, at the editor now. Yeah. And then I have 2 more. I finished seven books. But yes, I have 3 more that are coming out.
Nice. And when you're not writing books and teaching these kids at the moment, what do you get up to in your spare time?
I love to ride my bike. And of course, I can only do that in the summer months. Yeah. My family has a home in Ocean City, Maryland. So I go to Ocean City, Maryland very often. And I could actually live there in the whole summer because I am a teacher. I'm off in the summer. Yeah. And I love to walk around Washington, D.C. I love to go to the museums, although I've kind of shied away a little bit from that, during the pandemic. Things have been kind of sealed up tight, but things are turning around for sure in our area.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things about being a teacher, I suppose. You get the whole summer off.
Right. And the jewel of Maryland, around Ocean City, Maryland, is the Chesapeake Bay. And so, Marylanders love to crab. And so now it's crabbing season, and I love to eat Maryland blue crabs. So I actually have a crabbing knife that I got from the hardware store that I carry in my purse on the weekends in case I get into an impromptu crab feast.
That's kind of random. I've never heard of an impromptu crab feast. But...
Oh, yeah. You'll just show up and people are like, we're getting crabs. So, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, where are we able to find your book everywhere if we want to have a little read of it?
Amazon, and you can even take a peek. There's absolutely, you can click on the Amazon links, and you can read, a little excerpt from each book, if that, to see if that would interest you. Absolutely. Amazon is, where they're published.
And are you yourself on any kind of social media or have a website where we're able to keep up with all the books you're writing?
I am on Twitter. It's just Brenda Elkin on Twitter, and I am on Instagram and also on Facebook.
Nice.
So.
Well, thank you very much for joining us on the show today. It's been great having you here.
Thank you very much, and you have a great day.